Alright, g'day, hi and welcome. Okay. My shirt and my jammies match my guitar. I just realized that. My two guitars. Alright, 7-string guitar. VS. Drop tunings. So, standard tuning on a 7-string guitar. I'll play you a riff. What riff should I? Yeah, I'll do one of my own stuff. I did the running in the last one, but I like this riff anyway. But anyway, I'll just do a couple of riffs from my songs, just so you can get a feel of what the 7 string is going to sound like. Yes, I'm not plugged in, I know that, but as soon as you hear the drop tunings versus the 7 string and standard tuning, you'll kind of get the idea of why you might pick one over the other. Now, it doesn't mean you can't do drop tunings on a 7 string, obviously. But thinking of where you're going to put that sound, where it's going to sonically sit in the mix, that kind of stuff. So just give you an idea of what you're going to get with a 7 string. Okay, so you get the idea of how chunky these things are. But let's say when you look at the neck on this, like it's pretty, I got pretty big hands, so I don't know if that'll show you. You can kind of get an idea. Get that in the right spot. You kind of get an idea that I don't really have too much of a problem getting around this fingerboard, but it is more work. Now, although I'm in a total different tuning here, what I want you to listen for, right? I know it's acoustic and whatever, electric guitar, acoustic, how sacrilege. But what I want you to listen for is the depth of the tuning of a down-tuned 6-string with a standard Fender scale of 25 and a half. I want you to get the idea of that if you can't go with a 7-string, maybe it's a budget, maybe it's just you just can't play the darn thing, you do have options as a 6-string player. Now this thing is normally in drop C tuning, and I'm in what I call the So Good tuning. I'm sure I'm not the first guy to come up with it, but that's what I call it. So it's C, G, C, D, G, G, D. All right, so you can notice the droniness, right? Gives it that nice. That's pretty cool, right? That's pretty chunky, right? Remember, drop tuning. tuning on a 7-string. So no matter what you do in drop tunings on a 6-string guitar, no matter what you do, you will never ever be as heavy sounding as you will. I know, how do you quantify heavy, whatever, but you'll never be as heavy sounding as you will in a drop tune 7-string. Like you'll just never have that low end baritone sound. And again, it's acoustically, you can really hear it. Maybe in the mix you might not hear it as much, because I mean that is pretty heavy sound. It is a very ballsy guitar. It's a more lively sounding guitar with the shorter scale, and the Gibsons are even like my SG3 in drop tunings is even more livelier and jangly sounding than that. But you can only go so low on the 24 3/4 scale. So this thing, you could, if I put this into the same tuning as that, so standard tuning is not as nice, but if I down tuned it to something like that, it would be, the droniness of this thing would just knock the paint off the wall. So it'd be much heavier. So no, drop tunings don't replace a 7-string. Controversial maybe, but it really doesn't. It just, because no matter how low you go with that, remember this thing, that C string is 3 steps lower than this thing is tuned. This is standard A440 or E standard tuning, and that thing was originally in drop C, and I dropped it down a bit more on the other ones. So 3 steps lower, and I still don't have that thunk, right? That baritone sound, because the guitar is literally about 3/4 of a fret. It's an inch longer. That's it. The scale is just an inch longer. So the difficulties of playing a 26.5-inch scale length any longer would make the guitar hard to solo and stuff like that, and hard to do, extravagant chords. But you can do some pretty extravagant chords on a guitar like this too. So it is harder, but it's more work rather than harder, because you just got to spread out a bit more. So no, the 7-string is its own beast. You will probably not find a drop tuning on a 6-string that will match it for the thunder that a 7-string can beat. And even if you can, the 7-string, if you down tuned it to what that was down to, you would have even more low end, which at some point, low end is a funny thing, because if it's not audible, and that's the problem I have with my 8-string, is that it's so low that it, even though it's the same scale length as this, like that low F sharp, well, I'll demonstrate in the next video. You'll see what I mean.